the black and white footage that you insert into the film. How did that come about?
So originally in that space, I needed a transition to go from the memory to what's more like almost like a present days, or a flash forward almost. And I originally filmed a small montage set to a Walt Whitman poem called Noiseless Patient Spider. And the poem Noiseless Patient Spider is about a spider that's casting its threads in different directions, and Whitman compares humanity to this spider, that we also cast our threads in these various directions, hoping that they will catch somewhere, that our souls will somehow catch to something. And I thought the poem was great, but I thought that the poem was getting lost in the sequence. And somehow looking at this old archival footage, which was an idea that Sam Anderson had at one point, I felt like the emotion behind the poem was quite strong. I mean, the emotion behind those images matched the emotion behind the poem. So that's why I decided just to use it in that spot. I thought the archival footage is quite hopeful. You know, these men who are building this bridge, and you know, it's a time where they feel this modern endeavor is going to connect new things, and you know, we're going into the future. It's a very hopeful feeling. They're raising the flag.
Sorry, what bridge were they building in the archival?
It's actually San Francisco, but
so it's not the bridge that's shot in the film, the one that they were passing. It's not the same bridge. Right,
it's not the same bridge.
Okay.
I was hoping that somehow there could be a connection between the two bridges when you see that in the archival footage they're raising the flag, and then later when the two characters are driving across the bridge, you see the flag on top of the bridge. But yeah, it's quite easy to miss.
Okay. I guess another theme that I saw in the film was sort of this theme of intimacy and marriage. Was that I know the film is about memory, but how did you feel it reflected on sort of the theme of intimacy between two people in marriage, and how much of that came from your personal experience?
I guess I was writing it, or you know, I mentioned that I was writing the film during a time I was thinking a lot about mortality, and I had just gotten married, and somehow there was this new feeling in life of having this person with me who is a companion, and I don't know, I had this feeling of how for the two of us there are just so many small dangers around us. Just that the world itself can be quite a dangerous place, and just my desire to protect that, you know, protect this this sort of life together that we had just found. I feel like the film came out of that, and you know, in many ways I do feel like it's a film that's dedicated to my wife. So maybe that's why a big reason why I feel like it's such a you know, personal film for me. Yeah.
Do you feel like you will make another film ever like this one again?
I really don't think so. Yeah. I remember at one point reading this interview with, I'm not comparing myself to him in any way. I read this interview with Wong Kar-wai, and he was talking about Days of Being Wild. And for me, that might be my favorite film that he's made. I really like that film, and I remember reading that he said it was his most personal film, and he didn't feel like he could make a film that personal again. And at the time I thought, wow, you know, but it was such a good film. He needs to keep making films that are very personal. Yeah. But now I kind of understand the sentiment that, sometimes you just have to step back, and I don't know if that makes sense. Not to say that. Yeah, yeah. It doesn't mean that the films won't be personal to me, but somehow, yeah, some sort of distance is good.
Do you feel like in this one too much of yourself came through in a way that now looking back you feel like it's a little bit exposing?
Um, I guess sometimes I feel that way. Yeah. Um, at the same time, I feel like it might be the film that I probably will like the most of any film I've made. I mean, so far it seems to be the case that it's the film that I'm proudest of at the moment. And if I continue making films, I feel like I continue to feel that way.